And with those words, Whis knew his thoughts from before were correct. Understanding what heat represents allows you to much better understand how this moment was how the Dragon Ball Super creators showed you the proof right in front of your eyes that this heat was something different from Ultra Instinct. And that's exactly what the other part of the issue is here. Remember, you were told that there were two concepts you needed to learn in order to understand how the heat and Goku's silver eyes explain how this is not Ultra Instinct. Many still say Ultra Instinct is a form, but the heat representing power and energy is the first step to seeing that Ultra Instinct is missing a number of things in order for it to be considered a form. Goku's hair fell down as its original color returned. His body wobbled before falling on his knee. There it was again. Smoke exited Goku's body. Whis was so frustrated about this heat. He still couldn't figure it out. Was it because he's a Saiyan? To be fair, Whis had to admit that Goku was the first Saiyan he had ever seen with Ultra Instinct. Whis thought that maybe this could be the biggest reason why even he, an angel who had completely mastered this technique, was not able to instantly recognize that Ultra Instinct was what Goku was experiencing when he first obtained it. Was it possible that Ultra Instinct work differently for Saiyans? He had to remember that angels weren't the only ones with Ultra Instinct. Gods of Destruction could get it, some had even mastered it, and he was starting to believe that Jiren also had it. But that was a story for a different day. The point was this: it had already been proven that different races could get it, and if it looked different for them than the angels, then Whis realized that he probably would have guessed that this was just what it happened to look like for a Saiyan, but he didn't. And with Goku out of the fight for now, it seemed like the perfect time to figure this heat mystery out. Whis needed to find any clue he could, and so he started to replay these moments through his head. Whis remembered when Goku and Jiren had first started a fight. He wondered if maybe the first hints had happened even before Goku had ever gotten Ultra Instinct. He had thought for sure Goku had been eliminated. Jiren had proven to be on a much higher level, but Whis noticed that Goku never appeared in the stands, and that's when he noticed it. Goku's hand was barely hanging on the side of the stage, and as he pulled himself back up, Whis could feel the overwhelming confidence in Goku. But Whis knew better. He could feel Jiren's presence, and it was still something far too hard for Goku to beat. Jiren proved Whis' thoughts as he grabbed Goku by the feet and swung him through the air. Goku stared at the ground. Whis could tell his pain was too much to stand. It seemed there wasn't a spot in Goku's body that Jiren hadn't hurt, but Krillin wasn't ready to give up on his friend. He smiled as he explained that by now, he was sure Goku could reach Kaioken times 20 as Super Saiyan Blue. Beerus sweated as he answered that Goku couldn't. Krillin couldn't understand why not, and his hopes crumbled when Whis finished what Beerus was too afraid to say out loud. Goku had already been using Super Saiyan Blue with Kaioken times 20. Whis was disappointed, not at the lack of Goku's strength, but more so, he felt disappointed for Goku. He knew it would take a long moment for Goku to let it all sink in. Not even his most powerful form, pushed to the limit of his Kaioken technique, could do any damage to Jiren. But Whis was surprised. Goku was taking this rather well. He had decided that he couldn't depend on himself any longer. Goku's trump card would have to be used. Whis enjoyed the wonderful moment of Goku's teammates offering him their energy, but it was all quickly taken away. Whis started to fear that Jiren could not be beat, as Jiren started forcing Goku's attack right back at him. Whis saw the corner that Goku was being forced into. He had no other choice but to use Kaioken times 20 again. And there it went. Was this attack actually strong enough? Whis felt his heart fill with a small amount of hope. It was reaching Jiren. Whis noticed the only thing on his mind was the thought, closer, just a little closer, as if he was right there with Goku, helping him along the way. But then Jiren found a way to pour Whis' hopes out of his soul all at once. What would Goku do now? Whis felt terrified. Goku's energy was draining rapidly. In his mind, Whis begged Goku to stop. Please, no more. Whis stopped thinking about the past. He had gotten caught up in his memory, and had forgotten his goal was to figure out that heat. But now that he knew that whatever that heat had been, had somehow helped Goku survive that battle, Whis felt disappointment again. But this time, it was aimed at himself. Had he really wished for Goku to give up? As he had watched Goku fall into the massive energy, he wasn't sure what he should be feeling. Happy that his student had gone out giving it every single thing he had? Or should he cry to lose not only a student, but someone he had grown to care for? The pain worsened as he watched Beerus shake. Whis held in his tears. It was his job to be Beerus' teacher, his role model. Whis knew he must keep these feelings to himself. But suddenly, the world of Void began to shake. Goku had returned a brand new man. What was this speed? Whis couldn't contain his excitement. The look on Jiren's face was priceless. He must have been sure Goku was gone for good. Now the joke was on him. But Whis calmed down as his curiosity peaked. Goku's movements flashed much faster than before. However, Whis' curiosity didn't seem to be shared with Jiren. To him, it seemed this sudden burst in speed was nothing more than a slight increase in ability. It was still nothing Jiren couldn't handle. But what was that? Whis watched Jiren turn to look back at Goku. A mark appeared on Jiren's face. This was a clue about Goku's new form. Whis remembered how hard it had been for Goku just to make contact with Jiren, and now he had actually made damage. But this made Whis even more curious than before. Had Goku just become fast enough to make contact? Well, no. Whis realized that couldn't be it. He remembered clearly seeing Goku hit Jiren before. The problem was he just wasn't strong enough to do any damage. Whis was now in complete disbelief. He knew something had been off, but he couldn't quite figure it out. But now Whis was coming to the realization that something strange was going on here. He knew for certain what he was seeing was Ultra Instinct, but he was certain that he was also seeing something else. Whis remembered the first time Goku had applied Kaioken to Super Saiyan Blue was as clear as if it had happened yesterday. It was a technique that multiplied power, speed, and all combat abilities, and this reminded Whis of when he had originally described Ultra Instinct to Goku and Vegeta. He had told them that it was something that would allow them to avoid any danger, and Whis realized that these two explanations were completely different. But that's when Whis remembered that dodging was only half of Ultra Instinct's abilities, and he had just revealed while watching Goku's fight with Kefla that it could be used for attacking as well. Whis thought harder. Could this other half of Ultra Instinct have something to do with Goku's blue aura and the heat that had been coming out from his body? No. Whis shook his head. He knew better than anyone that being able to attack while using Ultra Instinct didn't mean Goku could get any stronger physically. Who better to know than a master of Ultra Instinct that it simply would allow Goku to unconsciously choose which attack would be best to use in that moment. Ultra Instinct was not the cause of Goku's increase of strength, but looking at Goku's weak body again, Whis' mind was driven back to that sad, terrible moment. Watching Goku achieve Ultra Instinct was one of the most wonderful things Whis had ever witnessed. However, he could never shake the heavy pressure of the immense power Jiren still had yet to unleash. Goku wouldn't last long. Whis was completely sure of this. And now the time had come to see his thoughts played out. Goku's body started to return to normal. The mysterious heat was rapidly coming to its end. And as Goku made his final charge at Jiren, his fist was caught mid-punch. Whis almost couldn't watch. Jiren held Goku's body in the air. It was faint, but Whis barely made out the words that Jiren was saying. This heat, that is your limit. And with those words, Whis knew his thoughts from before were correct. Goku's new appearance and that burning heat was completely separate from Ultra Instinct. And as Goku laid there helpless, a sudden force of wind swept him to a new place. Whis instantly saw who it was. Frieza had taken Goku to a place he thought they could not be seen, but with his staff, Whis was able to see anything he wanted. Frieza looked down at Goku through his evil eyes. What was he planning to do? Whis had prepared himself to do anything to intervene. He wondered what could be running through Goku's mind. Could it be the memory of when he had defeated Frieza? Whis had heard the story, and now he could see it in his head as if he had been there. Goku shivered. This fear, it was more real than ever before. Goku's Genki Dama barely even left a mark on Frieza. Unsure if he would survive, Goku instructed everyone to hurry to the spaceship and leave the rest to him. But Frieza wasn't having it. There was no way he would just stand by and watch them all run away. Who cared if Goku was his real opponent? The others were there just to toy with. Goku's fear grew as Frieza forced Krillin's body into the air. His friends screamed in terror, but Goku could only stand there and watch. And in less than a second, his best friend was gone. Goku's fearful shaking suddenly took a turn. The anger was so great. Lightning struck down from the clouds above them. The waves around them moved quicker. Gohan looked up at his father in fear and awe, as the strangest thing he had ever seen happened before his eyes. Suddenly, Whis realized that what happened next in this story was another clue to Goku's new form. Goku's hair changed blonde for just a second. His power was growing. The ground beneath him ripped as it was pulled into the air. A large beam of energy came striking down like lightning. A yellow surge of energy surrounded Goku's body. His hair had lifted, the blonde color now permanent. His fierce blue eyes were ready to make Frieza pay. Whis quickly came back to the present. He finally could see it. Of course, the Saiyan transformations always had these few things in common. These changes were what made Super Saiyan so unique. Whis smiled with satisfaction. The change of aura, hair, and eyes. Now he remembered Goku's second Ultra Instinct transformation. With Goku knocked unconscious, Whis wondered what Kefla's next move would be. He watched her wait patiently. She started to smile as Goku shook as he tried to stand. Whis hung his head. Goku's fight was over, but once again, he was surprised by Goku. Kefla threw her attacks. Did Goku just dodge? Ultra Instinct back again so soon? Whis stopped trying to understand at this point. Goku's mind and body were unbelievable. Whis smiled as Goku dodged Kefla's next attacks, with his eyes still closed. Suddenly, Goku raised his head. Energy swirled around him, and there were the signs. Goku's hair began to lift. Its color changed along with his eyes to silver. The blue aura and the heat that showed the amount of energy and power held inside him appeared. Whis returned to the present once again. That definitely had not been Ultra Instinct. That was a new form. However, Whis realized that Goku's hair had not completely lifted, and that his energy had not improved his strength enough. Goku couldn't control this energy yet, but Whis had no doubt he would soon enough. Suddenly, someone else caught his eye. Frieza was again watching. Now what was he planning? Whis saw the look in Frieza's eyes. Was it the same as when he had given Goku energy? Or was there a more evil intent behind them?